Yes, I know what you're thinking. And I'm thinking the same thing, that when everything else fails, there is Neeraj Chopra. And what a athlete! And when he took his position on the field, the kind of energy that he exudes, there is something about a superstar image. It's magnificent. So we are going to talk about the javelin competition at Budapest. All the three boys are in, which includes, of course, the superstar Neeraj Chopra, then Kishore Kumar Jena, and DP Manu. And we have Sandeep Mishra, a sports editor, joining in from Budapest, who has a very close eye on all the action. So we'll go over to him just in a short while. So, Sandeep, without wasting any time, the magnificent Neeraj Chopra, the first throw itself is the best in the tournament so far, 88.77 meters. So, in our office, we were all huddled around the laptop watching him. And of course, you were there seeing all the action. What is it that makes him so good?
I think we never see of course, the cliched part is that we never see the training, we never see what's happening behind what he actually does in one shot. I mean, yes, it's amazing that you just come on and it's just one throw and it's done. But 2 days back, that's exactly what he spoke about. I think, as he said, that मैं 2017 से बहुत कुछ सीख गया हूँ वो लंदन वाला जो वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप्स था जहाँ he actually tried that okay first one then second one and then suddenly you're faced with the pressure that you're not even qualifying at 83. I think London was 83 like here 83 was today, and then he had to and he couldn't even go to the final of the 2017, and that's exactly what he did. Just come on, throw your best or at least put in your best in your first one so that at least you can get over 83. Now let's assume that he got 84 or he would have got 85 or 86, he would have still qualified, he's still gone to the final. But to throw that monster stuff out there was remarkable. It also shows awareness. It also shows a huge amount of strength, not only in the mind, but also that okay, this is the target. Let's achieve it in the first one. Why even stretch it so far?
Sandeep, I noticed something, and since overnight India has so many javelin followers, thanks to the great Neeraj Chopra. But anyway, seriously speaking, if you saw these overseas athletes there who were basically European, and also the one coming in from the African countries, they were huge. They're massively built and very strong shoulders, chest, arms, their legs very powerful. And in contrast, when you see a Neeraj Chopra coming in, he seemed like he was small. He was ripped, and there was a marked difference between his build and the build of his rivals. So is it deliberate? Does it give more power to him? What do you think?
I think it's deliberate. I think if you look at DP Manu, you look at Kishore Jena, you look at Neeraj Chopra, and then you look at Anderson Peters, and then you probably look at Julius, the 2015 world champion from Kenya. I mean, they are big and but they are not sleek. And I think athletes over a period of time, I mean, you look at our tennis guys, look at the way Roger and Novak have, cut the fat down from their body to just become much more. Because javelin is so velocity driven, it is so reliant on momentum, and that's exactly what we normally read and what we see, that the body needs to become like a bow, so that when you're delivering it, everything goes into that shoulder, everything goes into all of that momentum that comes in. Anything which is slightly heavier on yourself, I think it's probably a problem while you're gathering speed out there. And this probably is the modern way of doing athletics now. I mean, you can go into this for a couple of hours, 3 hours, and discuss the whole thing out. But I think when you look at Neeraj from close, he is very solid now. You can see the chest, you can see the shoulders, those biceps. I think they are all kind of out there just for that those three throws. And let's even take the final for that matter. It's always about where do you want to throw and in which part. You have six throws in the final. In the qualifying, you only get three, and they kind of stagger it out. It all there's so much experience that comes to the fore for these athletes. There's so much experience that they draw on. and then they know exactly कौन सा वाला throw मुझे कहाँ करना है कैसे करना है. Of course, apart from the qualifying, that where you try and do whatever you can in your first one, and then if you can't, like Arshad Nadeem, he had a very bad first one, and he probably said maybe the track wasn't suiting him at that moment. He probably slipped a bit. He was a little afraid of the track. And by the time he came into the third one, he had got the rhythm and the momentum. And look at the stuff that he also created and becomes number two on the overall rankings. So coming back to your question, I think yes. I mean, I think a lot of fat has been cut out. Look at the heavier ones in this particular competition; they all got left behind.
You spoke with Neeraj before the event, and you had a chance of being there when he was speaking to the press after the event. When he speaks, there is lucidity. It seems as it's so simple that anybody can do it, and people forget the kind of humongous effort that he has put in. Of course, the training that has gone in. And I still remember someone like Michael Johnson seeing one of his videos where he's sprinting and saying that, look at this guy. This is not sprinting is not his event, but how much effort he's putting in into that sprint. So those are massive compliments coming his way. But anyway, cut to the chase. What is your takeaway of Neeraj Chopra, the athlete, and the mental preparation that he puts in before a big event?
Arup, I think it's an uncluttered mind. I think the moment you focus so much on a particular event or on a particular time or a moment during your three qualifying throws, even during the training. I think what we see is we see Neeraj Chopra one throw, 10 seconds, 88 or whatever that number is, and it's done and he's gone. It seems very easy. But I think it comes from where you have got, a little bit, not even a little bit, a lot comfortable with yourself, with your success and your failures. You know that anything can happen at any point of time. It's like Manu saying, फाइनल में कुछ भी हो सकता है. आपका एक थ्रो अगर 86 87 लग गया, फाइनल बहुत प्रेशर का फाइनल होगा, शायद दूसरे ना मार पाए और शायद वो 86 और 85 और 87 वाला शायद सिल्वर ब्रॉन्ज ले जाए. I think it affects them in that sense. It also affects who takes the lead first, because then you're chasing. When Chopra took it, everybody started chasing him, and that chase affects you. It affects you in 100. It affects you in any other event at the World Championships or the Olympic Games. But it's his mind. I think he's so free of, if I can put it rightly, he's so free that, okay, is there something called failure? I really don't care. If I'm going to succeed, I'll do my best to do that. But I'm not thinking about failure at all. And I think that kind of gives him a clarity that, okay, this is my job. I have come here to do it, and let me do my best and leave the rest to the technical parts, leave the rest to, in case there's something going wrong, leave the rest to coach. I can go to the coach and ask for a few inputs, but I'm still going to put in my 100%. And believe me, the Chopra of 2017, from the Federation in Patiala to the 2017 Asian Athletics to 2018 Asian Games, and then on to Tokyo, then on to Eugene, there is a very different Neeraj Chopra that has emerged. And that emergence of a Neeraj Chopra is a lesson to a majority of athletes in India that yes, it's a struggle to make it all the way. There's a lot of hard work and training that goes in. But if Neeraj can do it, coming from Sonipat, and I'm not going into the stories of, the struggle of coming up from Sonipat and all, but for him to stand there and so be so confident about himself, including the international press, is remarkable to see the kind of a person he has developed into. And I think that comes when you're free of a lot of things that I don't care about failure. Let me just go and do my best.
I want to come to you also on the first throw. Has he redefined the event by trying to outgun everyone else by throwing his best, or at least trying to do his best on that first throw? Because if he gets it right, then boy, like you said, everyone is chasing him. Then the pressure is on the rest of the rivals who are competing at this stage.
I think a question asked to him was also that you were 18th in the list, so you're watching one, two, three, four, five, all of those throws coming in throw, and then you're just watching it. So how do you sit there? I mean, don't you need a warm up? Your body may just stiff up or something like that. So for him, it was like, he says, मैंने यही चीज श्रीशांत से पूछा शायद शायद उसने यही गलती की कि वो अपने आप को वार्म अप नहीं करता रहा कॉन्स्टेंटली. He was focusing on the other jumpers probably a little more. I think what Neeraj meant here was very clearly, I'm not focusing on the other guys. I'm focusing on what I can do here best. And I think, like you said, really, I think he's redefined himself to a large extent. Number one, he's intelligent. Number one, he's aware of the world. Number three, he's aware of the surroundings. Once an athlete gets aware of the surroundings, that this is my area, this is my backyard, and this is where I need to do it, I think things get slightly easier. This very classic example of Avinash Sable and Neeraj Chopra. Sable was a sure shot finalist. Sable is a tremendous athlete. Sable is brilliant. He's hugely talented. But Sable and Neeraj Chopra, if you put them together, you can see there's a difference in confidence. Sable is today what Neeraj was probably not even 2017 World Championships, what Neeraj was in the Asian Games in Jakarta. I think they're probably now standing at that same level. But what Neeraj has understood and learned is that I have to do certain things. There's a process, and I think Sable probably still feels a little left out. Still feels, oh, I'm in the company of these massively big athletes. Can I do it? Chopra doesn't look at can I do it. Chopra does it, and he doesn't care about whether he'll be able to do it or whether it's going to lead to failure. I think he just goes and says, "This is the process. This is what I need to do," and he just goes and completes it.
Okay, so I know you're standing in the heat, but we have two interesting sound bites of Neeraj. So our producer has lined up both of them. Let's listen into the first sound bite of what Neeraj says.
हाँ सर, जैसे कि अब 2-3 दिन पहले बात हुई थी कि लंदन वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप से बहुत बड़ी सीख मिली है कि पहले ही थ्रो में कोशिश करता हूँ बढ़िया, और आज वार्म थ्रो भी काफ़ी अच्छे लग रहे थे और 80 मीटर अराउंड 83 मीटर के करीब लग रहे थे, मतलब इधर से देखने में तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि यहाँ फर्स्ट थ्रो में कर लेंगे। और अच्छा है, वेदर भी बढ़िया है, ग्राउंड काफ़ी बढ़िया है और अभी फाइनल के लिए अपना पूरा 100% देंगे। बस वही थोड़ा सा मतलब आज सोच रहा था मैं कि जैसे आज सभी बार जब सभी थ्रोवर्स जेवलिन के साथ थ्रो कर रहे थे, उन्होंने अर्ली वार्म अप स्टार्ट कर दिया। यही चीज़ मतलब मैंने टोक्यो में देखा था कि कई बार हम जल्दी वार्म स्टार्ट कर देते हैं और फिर बाद में दिक्कत होती है। तो मैंने बाहर कुछ किया ही नहीं इतना, थोड़ा बहुत अपनी मोबिलिटी और थोड़ा बहुत स्ट्रेचिंग की, थोड़े बहुत बॉल थ्रो किए। मैंने जेवलिन के साथ थ्रो ही नहीं किया बाहर। तो फिर मैं अंदर आया, अंदर आके मैंने 2 ही थ्रो किए क्योंकि मेरे पास टाइम था काफ़ी। तो इतना जल्दी वार्म अप करके फिर आप बैठे रहते हो, बहुत ज़्यादा एक्टिव रहना पड़ता है और मॉर्निंग का सेशन वैसे भी थोड़ा मुश्किल रहता है उसके लिए। तो मैंने ज़्यादा पुश नहीं किया अपने आप को पहले ही, तो मैं धीरे धीरे करके वही कोशिश कर रहा था कि 18वां थ्रो है तो काफ़ी टाइम लग जाएगा। क्योंकि श्रीशंकर की मैंने श्रीशंकर से बात हुई थी, उसके साथ भी प्रॉब्लम हुई कि वो अच्छे से वार्म अप हो गया, वार्म अप जंप उसने बहुत बढ़िया लगाए, तो उसका पर जंप लास्ट मेरी तरह शायद लास्ट में अटैम्प्ट था उसका, तो उसके साथ ये प्रॉब्लम हुई थी। वही मैं कोशिश कर रहा था कि जल्दी से ज़्यादा वार्म अप नहीं होना है, धीरे धीरे करके अपना एनर्जी सेव रखनी है।
So that clearly shows what he learned from Murali Sri Shankar's warm-up routine, which actually went awry, which didn't work for Sri Shankar, and how quickly Neeraj adapted. That is the point Sandeep is making repeatedly, that he is a superb athlete also in the sense that he knows how to use his brain and to adapt very, very quickly. Sandeep, a quick word on the two other gentlemen whom you know pretty well, Kishore Jena, competing in Group B. Now, he's also made the final cut and with a throw of 80.55 meters, and then DP Manu with 81.31 meters. What would you say about them? Is it in the slipstream of Neeraj's brilliance, or are these two gentlemen very capable of getting a podium finish?
I think they are capable. I think it just boils down to the fact you have six. You you after the three of your first throws, you got to be in the first top eight. That I think that's the first one. Manu, of course, says that he wants to do his personal best. I think at the back of his mind, from his coach, he's been told if you create that personal best, I think that number one will give you confidence that okay, I got a PB here. And then maybe in the third, fourth, if you are in the top eight in your first three throws, understand the last four, the one who bring up the rear after the three throws, they are supposed to leave, and only the top eight will continue for 4, 5, and 6. So that's the rule. So if they include themselves there, I think they have a very good chance. Also, it also depends on how the three can come together and feed off each other. all have different coaches. So I think that that's the classical, um, of an athlete probably trying to understand what the other athlete is doing, and every athlete is coached very differently. So I think all these three mindsets will not clash for sure. But I think if all the three mindsets of all the three top javelin throws that we have, if they can come together and somehow push each other and make it to the next round, by next round I mean the 4, 5, and 6 throws, I think there is a damn good chance that two will squeeze themselves onto the podium, if not three.
Okay. Also, it is time to speak about India versus Pakistan happening in Budapest. Who would have ever thought that it would come down to that? Now, after Neeraj, the best throw has come from Arshad Nadeem of Pakistan, and he threw 86.79 meters. And he topped Group B, and we were all watching him, and he seemed pretty comfortable with himself. He didn't over celebrate. And if one has remembers those backstories earlier at the Tokyo Olympics, how Neeraj helped him, even gave him his javelin to throw, and there's a lot of bonding happening between these two. So it is not exactly a vicious fight, but at the end of the day, it is going to be, might be, Neeraj versus Nadeem at Budapest. So does that create a different kind of pressure, Sandeep?
Oh, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, they have competed against each other. Also, understand by that logic, the pressure should be on Chopra because he's got a 90 plus. Arshad. He's a Commonwealth gold medal winner. Of course, Neeraj wasn't there at the Commonwealth because of an injury. He didn't want to be there, and it very easily can become a grade one and two. And I think it should because it not only sets it up like a massive thriller, but it also gives a huge push to the sport. To javelin, to track and field, to have in India, Pakistan finish one and two, whichever way it goes. Of course, we would all love to have Neeraj Chopra become world champion after becoming Olympic champion. Who wouldn't want to? Who wouldn't want it to be? But similar sentiments would be in Pakistan because he's damn good. I mean, when you look at Arshad, when you see him running up, you don't think he's about to throw because he jogs in. He doesn't even sprint in that sense. And I think out here, his body, his build is very different from what it was at the Commonwealth Games. He was slightly heavier there. Here you can see that he's got a little bit more chiseled up. His shoulders are coming out. He's looking good, and he has this. He gives you a false sense of, you know, kind of okay, ये नहीं कर पाएगा. But he just comes in and he stands and he throws and it's 85, it's 86, 87. I mean, it's amazing how he does it. You see the others; they'll come charging in like a motor out there, And this guy, he just ambles in, actually, literally. And I mean, just imagine the power in that shoulder of his. So, but yeah, it's great. It's great for the sport, honestly. Whoever finished one and two, I think javelin is going to be really big if these two are there on the podium. I mean, India Pakistan will have probably, let's slightly get away from cricket and hockey, all this stupid India Pakistan thing, and let's have something on a track and field. I mean, that would be remarkable. I think the first time my memories goes back to reading is Milkha Singh, but I'm forgetting the 400-meter runner from Pakistan. That was the first time when you had a India Pakistan rivalry on track. This probably is the second one. Not big. Mohammad Khalid came in the middle, but I think this is big because this is for the podium. This is for the gold, silver, and bronze. So it becomes bigger. And I think हमारे channels तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं ना, वो तो निचोड़ के ही रखेंगे इसको. So वो वैसे ही बढ़ जाएगा, उसमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है.
तो ये क्या कहा जाए कि ये नीरज वर्सेस नदीम का एक और कंपैरिजन शुरू हो जाएगा यहाँ के चैनल में कि ये विराट कोहली वर्सेस बाबर आजम का नया रूप है.
I think वही हो जाएगा अगर ये दोनों, if they go into the final, just imagine, I mean, they go into the final throw with one of them leading and one coming up. It's like that what happened in the discus here. And I think, yesterday night, what happened in the long jump. The Greek runner, I mean, the Greek jumper, he got it in the last one. If it goes to the last and both the countries are watching, I think it's required. It's needed that somebody goes over to track and field and tries to understands what Neeraj Chopra stands for and what Arshad stands for. And this is not something which is more like a cricket field or a hockey where bodies are colliding. This is one individual against the other. The kind of mindsets and the kind of uh, level on courage. I mean, the kind of things that must be going on in their mind when they come into a final. Apart from the India Pakistan, they have to rely on the individual, on themselves to be able to create something. It has nothing to do with any team effort or anyone. You are there alone. You're there alone and you want to win. I think that sets it up so beautifully that, you know, I can't even wait for the final. It's like that.
हम लोग बहुत प्रेशर की बात करते हैं, चाहे किसी भी स्पोर्टिंग इवेंट में हो, और कैसे प्रेशर को हैंडल किया जाए, ये एक बहुत अहम चीज है। और जिस हिसाब से नीरज प्रेशर को हैंडल करते हैं, वो एक जबरदस्त सीख है उसमें। बहुत रिलैक्स रहते हैं और आसानी से बात करते हैं। ये भी कहते हैं कि अगर बाकी चीजें सब ठीक है तो हम अपना बेस्ट क्यों नहीं दे सकते, जरूर जीतेंगे। तो आइए सुनते हैं कि नीरज चोपड़ा खुद क्या कहते हैं प्रेशर के बारे में।
सर बस वही है, आदत हो ही जाती है धीरे धीरे, और अपने आप पे आपको मतलब बिलीव रखना ही पड़ता है। बस वही मैं जो बताया था कि थोड़ा बहुत प्रॉब्लम होती है जब थोड़ी बहुत इंजरी की, ऐसे डर लगता है। बस वही चीज़ थोड़ा ऐसे लगता है कि ये गड़बड़ कर सकती है, वैसे तो ऐसे लगता है कि संभाल लेंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। और वही है, इन सभी के बीच में कम्पीट कर लिया है अभी, तो इतना कोई ऐसे स्पेशल और बहुत ज़्यादा वो नहीं लगता। और ख़ासकर मुझे लगता है कि जब हम वार्म अप थ्रो या जंप्स, जो मतलब सभी एथलीट्स अपना अपना वार्म अप खासकर फील्ड इवेंट्स में जब हम कर रहे होते हैं, तो उस टाइम पे बहुत हेल्प मिलती है इस चीज़ में कि आप कैसे क्या माइंड में रख रहे हो। तो आज मैंने वही इजी थ्रोज टेक्निक के साथ, मैं ज़्यादा एफर्ट नहीं लगा रहा, लेकिन कोशिश कर रहा था कि सही लाइन में फेंकूँ और कम एफर्ट में कितना दूर जाता है। तो वो चीज़ अपने आप को जानना, अपने गेम को पहचानना, ठीक है स्टाफ, कोच, फिजियो सब आपको हेल्प करते हैं, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि सबसे पहले आपको एथलीट को अपनी बॉडी को समझना चाहिए, और एथलीट से ज़्यादा खुद की बॉडी को कोई नहीं समझ सकता। तो मुझे लगता है कि अपना खुद का, जब हम फील्ड पे होते हैं तो अपना खुद का माइंड हमको लगाना चाहिए और खुद उसमें 100% हमको सोच के फिर करना चाहिए।
So Sandeep, closing thoughts now on the final, and the way very lucidly Neeraj Chopra actually analyzed how to handle pressure. Basically, he says that it's about the athlete's body, it's about the athlete's mind, and on both these counts, the athlete should be able to take control and soak in all the other instructions and then adapt, which is the third point. So going into the finals, how do you see it playing out?
I think we very conveniently have forgotten in this India-Pakistan thing that there's a Julian Weber there, there's a Ladek there from Czechoslovakia. Tremendous throwers, and they also have teams. They also understand where Chopra comes in from, where Nadeem comes in from. So let's say that it's a top 6, top 8 tussle of the first 3 throws. I will be slightly surprised, though I do believe that Chopra might even go for the first one like a big one. Let's say he gets a 88, 89 on the first, then you're chasing. But then it depends on what is the file of the throwers. Who's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that also helps or probably demands a little more from the athletes, because they try and, like Chopra said, you got to keep, can't do warm up so much that you just stiffen up a little later. I think all of those play a part. Mind, of course, plays a part. But I do believe that when it comes to the mind, when it comes to throwing, and when everything is there perfectly, technique and all of that, Chopra is still a step ahead of the rest. Anything can happen in a final. It's a cliched thing that I'm saying, but I do believe it that the second and the third throws are going to be hugely crucial in this, to take a lead and sustain it, and then wait for the fifth and sixth. Top priority for all the 3 Indian javelin throwers, be in the top 8 and be there for the 4, 5, and 6, because that's where you may turn it around. Otherwise, you just might get left at the bottom, and then you are out because you're at the bottom 4, which you should not be there. You should finish in the top 8, and that is going to be a huge thing for Indian athletics.
Okay, we'll now tune in on Sunday evening, late evening, when the finals take place, and good luck to all the 3 musketeers who will be part of that javelin event. And of course, all eyes will be peeled and the focus will be on Neeraj Chopra, the superstar of India, and obviously the man whom everybody would be chasing at the event. Take care, Sandeep, and we'll then tune in later. Goodbye and good luck.
Thank you.